Welcome back, dude and dudettes, to another wild episode of Send It Mate. We're here to talk about all things hunting and outdoors. And today, we've got something that'll keep your gear running smoother than a dingo's getaway.
That's right. Our show is brought to you by High Caliber, the gun and knife oil company that knows how to keep your firearms and blades in tip-top shape.
High Caliber is like the secret sauce for hunters, anglers, and outdoorsy folk everywhere. It's like the magic potion that makes your gun and knives happier than a dog with two tails.
You know, guys, I've been using High Caliber oil for a while now, and let me tell you, it's the duck's nuts. My rifle practically sings a lullaby when I take it out hunting.
And speaking of lullabies, ever tried sneaking up on a deer with a squeaky gun? It's a prime way to end up with no venison in the freezer. You'll be hungrier than a vegan at a bacon festival.
Absolutely. But with High Caliber oil, your gun will be quieter than a ninja in moonlight. You'll be stalking your prey with the grace and stealth of a mountain lion.
High Caliber doesn't just keep things quiet, it also prevents rust and corrosion, so you won't find your gear looking like it spent a season at the bottom of a creek.
That's right, and for you knife enthusiasts out there, High Caliber has got you covered too. Your trusty blade will slice through anything smoother than butter on a hot biscuit.
So, folks, don't let your gear become a rusty, squeaky mess. Head on over to highcaliber.com.au and grab a bottle of their oil today.
And if you use the code SENDITMATE at checkout, you'll get a special discount. I say again, use the code SENDITMATE for all your oil slick, stealthy hunting needs.
Thanks to High Caliber, you'll be sending it in style and silence.
So, gear up, oil up, and send it, mate. High Caliber, the ultimate oil for the ultimate hunter.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Send It Mate podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Josh. And we don't have Ryan today.
He's
bailed.
gone
Yeah.
AWOL.
Yeah, he's disappeared.
I was going to say in true Ryan form. No, life has just happened. So Ryan's got some stuff he needs to do. So it's just the two of us tonight, mate.
It is.
You reckon we can handle it?
Not really, because it seems a bit romantic, like datish and
Intimate, you reckon?
yeah, a little bit too intimate.
We're sitting across from each other, staring into each other's eyes.
Yeah, we just made eye contact twice.
Fortunately, Josh has covered his nipples up tonight, so it's not too weird. But there you go. Well,
just wait, I'll pop a titty.
I'm sure you will. Listeners, you just got Josh and myself tonight.
Yes.
So, yeah, come along for the ride. No Ryan, no loud laughing.
Obscene
No,
gestures.
no for those playing at homes. No stats.
Oh, thank God.
Just
No
so.
stats.
So, shout out to the big man, Ryan.
Yeah, Sasquatch.
Hopefully he's going all right. He's got a bit on. So, yeah, apologies, listeners. Not the usual trio tonight. Or, whenever you're listening, really. Today, in the afternoon, night, morning.
I feel like the
bed.
randomness, like taking the randomness out of the equation, it just feels different. Like I just am waiting for Ryan to chime in with something obscene. Or
The dynamic is definitely different. There's not that third presence. It's just you and me, Josh.
he does block out the sun.
This is true. All right, well, let's roll on with POI this week.
And you and Ryan,
Ironically, we were supposed to do a trip, all three of us.
yeah,
And you had too much on. So just Ryan and myself went for a quick scoot over to Vic, which was good. We were just after a freezer filler, which we ended up getting. So we went to a state forest, which we've been to before, just over in Western Vic, bit north of Portland. So yeah, no, it was a good trip. Look, it was a 7-hour drive to get there. Fortunately, Ryan and I like the same music, so that was all right.
God, screamo the whole way. Well, I got to ask, what stood out on this trip for you?
Ryan's coffee order.
What is it?
Ryan's coffee order through Macca's drive-through is a large almond cappuccino with 2 extra shots and 2 sugars.
See, I worry about this because he says he's lactose intolerant. I just think he has too much coffee.
Probably. Like, no one should be having 3 shots of coffee. Really?
Well, no, a large has 3 standard.
Well, he asked for 2 extras.
So that's 5 shots.
What staggered me is we went to the drive-thru and I reeled it off, and the lady said it back to me, and I'm like, holy shit, she got it right. I'm sure people order
You were
some
listening.
Weird, no, people order some weird shit. And yeah.
So out of the whole trip, his coffee order stood out. Actually, I have something. I have something that stood out from what you were telling me once you got home. And that was, once again, leeches. You got bitten by a leech.
Yeah, you should see my leg at the moment.
Oh, is it that bad?
Yeah.
Like herpes.
It's
on your foot.
gone like dark red,
Viral.
and there's a patch that's probably 3 inches across on my leg just below my calf.
Man, I'd go get that checked out.
But it's not itchy anymore, and I think it's healing. So
think?
my body's fought off the infection.
If your foot falls off, you've got another problem. Well, I brought that up quite simply because when we were talking about your trip, I asked you if you bloused your pants, and you said you sort of do. You said you did, but then the truth sort of like came out, and you half blouse your pants. Because I was sitting there, when I go away and I know I'm in terrain where there's going to be leeches, I'll blouse my pants and I'll actually tuck my shirt into my pants as well, and I'll obviously blouse my sleeves on my shirt. And you know how they crawl on your feet and then slowly work their way up? They can't get into your pants, onto your legs. They can't get into your waistline, and then they can't get on your arms.
Look,
So
every leech bite I've had has been just above my sock.
Yeah.
Like, go up under your pants, and then as soon as they hit flesh, bang.
You'd fix that if you bloused your pants.
Look, in all honesty,
You're a
my
blouse.
pants do not have any sort of drawstring on them.
I told you can buy. They're like they sell them at Aussie Disposals or Mitchell's or whatever, and they're just pretty much like a stretchy cord with a little clip.
My pants have stretch in them, so all I actually need to do, like they've got a feature down the bottom with press studs, and you can tighten them around your boot. So I just needed to go tighter.
Tight,
I just
tight?
didn't. Yeah, like tight.
Oh, you can on the Hunter's
yeah,
Element.
Yeah. There's
so-
like 3 different settings, I guess.
Oh, but it will go tight.
It will go. I could go tighter again.
Because I have like an elastic, stretchy Velcro thing on the base of my Numa pants, and I can pretty much wind them tight as hell.
Oh, look, I could have, but I just didn't bother. So it's on me.
We got a button that does that. Damn it.
Yeah, well, we do. Why did you do that? Oh, look, I wasn't particularly worried. The second one, Ryan actually took a video of, which he does have on his phone. He should post. And this leech was like halfway out my shin on the outside of my pants.
It hadn't dove in yet.
No, I hadn't dove in. They can live through. I cut it in half, and it was still crawling around the place. I went to pick it off my trouser, and I just cut it in half with my knife, and it's still crawling around.
Really?
Yeah, they're hardy motherfuckers.
Yeah, well.
So anyway, I mean,
Look at them. If you
we're
look
talking
like
about
that, you've
we're
got
talking
to be
about
a
coffee
hardy.
orders and
I wonder
leeches here.
I wonder how they fuck.
Yeah,
That's weird. I might Google that.
I'm sure they dock somehow.
to add to my history on my phone.
That is a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
Dear.
But aside from coffee orders and leeches, it rained the first night we got there. We got there in the dark on Friday night. Got to hiked into where we wanted to set up camp. With a big log that we'd been to previously, and someone's actually chainsawed half the log away, which was disappointing.
Do you reckon that was the forestry guys or
I think so. There was a lot of action around the place with chainsaws. By looks, they'd been and burned a lot of area off and chainsawed stuff up. There's actually a set of earmuffs left on a tree I found.
Oh, right.
I thought it was a big fungus on the side of this tree, this bright red thing, and yeah, it was earmuffs. But no, we set up standard style hoochie,
Yeah.
sleeping mats.
Can't go wrong with a hoochie, mate.
No,
Waste
not
stuff
really.
all.
Looks so easy to set up. Kept the rain off. We joined 2 and had sort of like a bit of a slope on the back, so the rain didn't get in. Kept all our gear nice and dry. Rained a fair bit from about midnight the first night. Bit the next morning, and then Ryan shot his deer in the afternoon once the sun had been out for about 2 hours.
Yep.
So we'd actually split up in the afternoon, and I was probably about 2 k's from him. I thought there's no point us sitting together. We may as well split up and double our chances. And I heard the shots.
Shots. I like that. I heard the shots.
I heard the shots. So the first deer unfortunately wasn't a success.
Did he hit it?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm only going what he claims he did. He claims the shot felt good, claims he lunged him or her. I don't know. Followed it into the scrub. He couldn't find blood anywhere. And I
said it rained, didn't it? Or he said it rained.
Yeah. Sorry, but at that point it was still raining on and off.
Wow.
So eventually, because we still had great reception, so I messaged him like, "Oh, did you get it?" And then eventually I got a reply, "No, I did, but I can't find him." The rain's washed away.
So in other words,
sign.
he ND'd.
Kind of. I should have saved this for ND.
Good God.
Well,
Having said that, so he fired, and then how much time lapsed before he got the doe?
It's about an hour or so after that.
Oh, so he'd gone back and
He
moved?
stayed in the same spot.
Stayed in the same spot.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So, look, I'll roll with this for our ND about that first one
Yeah.
as to why he probably was unsuccessful. But I rocked up eventually to the spot, went and found him, and he was just sitting there. And he's like, "Yeah, there's pretty much a thoroughfare through the scrub there. I've just been sitting here." I'm like, "All right, well, you continue to sit there. There was another 2. Where did they run off to?" And he pointed in a direction, and I thought, "All right, I'll go over that way, see what's about." And then about 15 minutes later, I heard another shot, and like, "Oh, he's gone again." Yeah. Meanwhile, there was like 7 shots in the distance, so there's someone else was out shooting as well.
Well, I've actually spoken to a few people now that have named this state forest, because it's a state forest that we've scouted.
Yeah. Look, there was definitely guys out there.
Yeah,
because I nipped into town on the Sunday, and there was a few utes parked up that I saw, and like honestly, before Ryan shot his, there was like 7 shots.
Yeah, right.
So I actually think he was successful because the other guys pushed him
back across
our way.
Yeah.
And they've just popped out. So yeah, he got himself.
I'll just step back. You went into town to buy some celebratory beverages.
True.
I think we've spoken about this, but wearing your camouflage when you walk into the pub to go buy some beers, like it never feels normal or socially accepted, I should say. It feels obscure and like you have to hide it, because I remember you saying that you walked in and then everyone in the pub just turned and looked at you.
Pretty much. I may as well have had 2 heads. And I thought, stuff this, I haven't got any other pants. But I'll just chuck a different shirt on.
You got 10 pairs of jocks.
So, I only took 2. Fuck off. So I rolled in there with fuck. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I've rolled in the pub with. I changed out the camo top to just a flannel.
Yeah. Good move.
Yeah.
Move.
But I've still walked in with camo pants and muddy boots.
Yeah.
To like the sports bar of this pub.
Yeah, the publican was like, "Fuck, now I got to mop me floors."
He was all right because he wasn't really looking down like past the bar. He was just gave me eye contact.
Yeah.
Like a polite individual. Everyone else was looking me up and down. Like everyone else literally turned and looked at me, and I was just being assessed from all angles.
Your camouflage pattern on your hunter's element, it's not exactly, subtle. It's quite in your face.
No, it's not discreet. But you know what? They're probably used to it in the area.
Actually, I'd like to hear from any listeners that are out in Vic and like locals in country Victoria, because obviously it happens a lot and there's a lot more freedom to hunt on the public land there. Well, I wouldn't mind hearing some stories from some local guys in country Vic about that. They've been at the pub and they've seen clearly like hunters walk in that are from out of town and I'd like to know what their initial thought is.
So
I'd be like, look at this chump.
we got the celebratory beers that night on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then the Sunday I went back into town so we hung it that afternoon.
Yeah.
And then I went back into town just before lunch the next day, just grabbed some ice for the esky. So we butchered it and got it in the esky. And that was weird in itself because Sunday was Anzac Day.
Yeah.
And we're just like they didn't have their normal opening hours. So everyone's standing around the front of this IGA waiting for it to open. And I'm just sitting there with all the locals.
They've all probably bought their piss the day before and forgot to buy food.
Probably.
I did.
But again, they're just looking me up and down. Oh, yeah, here's this Hunter bloke. Like I would have stood out pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm like dirty, covered in mud,
Yeah.
camo pants. Went the flannel again.
Did Ryan give you any of the deer to have?
He did.
He did.
He did.
Oh,
So,
that's lovely of him.
it wasn't huge, but it will keep us going for a while. So
It actually looked like the world's smallest doe.
it's pretty small, but who cares? We got meat. So there's actually a video on our Instagram of Ryan breaking down the carcass.
Yeah. He did well on that, actually.
Yeah, he did actually.
Very well.
So we just whacked everything in meat bags, which are actually pillowcases.
Hey.
Cheeky tip for
Hey.
everyone at home.
Yeah. Don't spend $120, $30 on 5 bags when you can spend $120 on 10 pillowcases.
Well, these cost me $8 for 4 pillowcases.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's been a while since I've been to Kmart.
Yes, clearly. They're like 200 thread count
Oh,
white cotton
You're
pillowcases.
ripping out the Egyptian cotton.
Do you know what? They do the trick. And I've since had them home, washed them, and they smell like
now you use these pillowcase to sleep with.
not quite. But yeah, he broke everything down into the pillowcases / meat bags. Got it on ice, got it home, and then when we got home on the Monday night, we just butchered everything up.
Yeah.
Washed any shit off. He did pretty good actually doing it in the tree. He kept most things off. So we hung it with skin on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty cool while we were there.
What was the temperature like? Like you said, cool, but like did it get down to 8?
Like 7, 8 at night, max 18 during the day.
Oh, that's
So we hung it.
it's good hunt weather.
We hung it probably about 5 o'clock in the arvo on the Saturday, and we had it broken down and on ice by about 12:30 the next day. So the sun hadn't even hit it at all, really,
Yeah, that's all right.
because it's pretty overcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, and spent Monday night butchering it up in his kitchen, back sealing it.
Yeah.
And then he just was kind enough to split it in half, even though it was his kill.
Hey. That's what you want. Didn't you give your tenderloins? Did he give you tenderloins?
Yeah,
You gave them
yeah.
your dad, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave Dad one of the bigger roasts. I said,
Yeah.
marinate that thing. My dad used to be a chef, as you know, but the listeners don't. Yeah, so I said marinate it and have us over for tea, Dad.
He's pretty good, actually. I remember getting one Christmas some of his bum burner chili mix that he made. That stuff's lovely.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I went around there with a big bag of meat. I said to him, which one do you want? And he's grabbed the tenderloins, he's grabbed the back strap, and he's grabbed this big roast,
Yeah, so he knows
all
what
in
he
his
wants.
arms. I'm like, okay, you want multiple things. Fair enough.
I would have said, Nick off. Give me the back straps back.
No, I ended up giving a bloke from work one of the smaller roasts and like a 4-quarter.
Bloody hell.
Um,
Do you have any left for yourself?
a little bit, not much.
Bloody hell.
Ryan and I cooked some up the night we were butchering, and it tastes fucking good.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty
It
tender
would have
deer.
been like a yearling, I guess. So didn't have much age about it, but
You should have just cooked the loins up, the tenderloins up out there, man.
we're too busy having celebratory drinks, and Ryan spent the best part of an hour trying to light a fire with wet wood.
Fail.
So
You know, I still don't understand why I don't carry like a little tin with some cotton buds and you just like get your old Vaseline tub. So stop using it to wank and just get your cotton buds and dip it in the Vaseline and then put it in a tin.
I don't
And it lights-
need lube to wank.
It's like a fire starter. It's great.
Just so you know.
I don't want to know. Good God. I use KY. It's better.
It's better than Ryan. Was it Ryan who said YK? It was YK jelly? Was that you? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember.
It's a while ago now.
It's funny when you're on the podcast, you can't remember words straight. Well, I can't.
No, that's just you, man. That's just you.
Nah.
Oh.
Yeah, dear.
So, yeah. Well, dear, exactly. We got one. The freezer's full. It's a good trip.
Yeah.
Too far to go for one. Too far to go for none. But do you know what? We had fun. 4 days.
Good days hunting, better than a shit days at work.
Well, yeah, 4 days for me at least. I took the Friday and the Monday was public holiday, but yeah, I took the Friday off, so I had a 4 day weekend.
Probably shouldn't even bother taking the Friday off because Ryan didn't finish till late, did he?
Oh, look, he knocked off about lunchtime, but he was still taking calls till like 6 o'clock at night. So
anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into today's topic. More ominous music.
oh, you want ominous music?
Yeah. Whoa. It is life or death.
That was fucking ridiculous. Well, what is it? What is the topic? Life or death?
Life or death. I just said
Oh,
it.
you did say that. Sorry.
Life or death.
See, this is the thing we can't do with two of us is not listen.
Yeah.
Because with three
can't zone
people, there's the luxury of just being able to zone out every now and then.
I need a break.
Whereas now, if you say something and I don't respond, we're fucked.
yeah, basically. Yeah, a bit more talking. I'm not sure that I like it. I like when Ryan talks and the fact that Ryan talks a lot.
Oh, and he'll just go down some random rabbit hole.
Oh, shit.
I mean, we're quite capable, but
I'd like to ask the listeners if they have any friends like that that just fucking dribble when they talk.
he gets analytical, eh? Like,
He
tries to get too deep. I think he likes to try and sound like he knows what he's talking about.
But when he goes deep, he'll look up like to the right and like in the air, and he'll ponder about what he's saying to himself just to justify it in his mind.
So essentially we're listening to Ryan's inner monologue. Yeah. It's funny, we were listening to one of our podcasts on the drive down, and there was a point where Ryan was talking about something slightly controversial, and he actually put in about 4 disclaimers.
4 disclaimers.
Like, this is my personal experience, and I'm only talking anecdotally here. And there's probably people out there that don't feel like this. And I'm just like, how many disclaimers could you put? Just say it, bro.
Yeah. Just say what you want.
Anyway, we're not here to shit on Ryan.
It's 2021. We've got to be...
What better thing to do than bitch about people when they're not here?
Yeah. He won't listen to this.
No, he won't. He won't. I think the only time he listens to the podcast is when I played for him.
That's all right.
Anyway, love you, big fella.
Yeah, you're all right, buddy. Anyway, life or death.
All right.
And you're up first. Break it down.
Well, I just want to be quite simple here and play a game with you.
A game.
Not like in a weird
marry one, fuck one, kill one.
No. And not in like a weird jigsaw sort of way either.
Let's play a game. I love that movie, man. Actually, I saw one of those little clown fuckers on that tricycle that he's got.
Yeah.
At a like thrift shop or something. I don't know, something like that. And it would eyes light up and it would move.
Ooh.
I just wanted to buy it. It was like $400 odd or something though. I'm like, damn it.
No, that's not worth the practical joke.
No, it kind of is. Because imagine like your missus, you just put in the hallway and then put like an IR thing on it, switch on it, and your missus gets up to go take a piss in the night or something and walks down the hallway and it's like...
I don't even have to invest money to freak her out. All I have to do is turn the lights off. That's all I have to do. Like if we're walking down the hallway, she will turn a light on at each light switch. And if I really want to freak her out, I just turn the light off and then make like zombie noises.
Really? Yep. That's enough to get it going.
And she'll freak the fuck out.
Wow. Really? Because I'm too busy when the light's off in my head trying to remember where shit is so I don't walk into it.
Oh, dude. This is also why my house is like locked up like Fort Knox at all times.
It is terrible. Like all right, I'm going to give the listeners a bit of a story here because this pisses me off actually. So when it's podcast night, we're at Caleb's house when it's hosted at his house. We go to come in, and you'll hear Caleb fart-assing around with like 6 locks before he opens the door. That's all well and good. We'll get on with the night, go through the podcast. As we're leaving, naturally, you don't think you would need to lock up a house where there's 3 fucking dudes sitting like just drinking piss. Like in my mind, I'd just leave everything wide open. Anyway, you go to walk out and expecting that the doors are just unlocked. And you go and, yep, the first door's fine. And then you go to open the fly screen and walk whilst you're opening it and pushing it simultaneously. And you just smack your head into it. You're like, for fuck's sake, why is this shit locked?
I mean, honestly, it does annoy me as well because I'm like, I'm home. We don't need to lock everything, but
That and you've got like a pretty vicious attack dog.
safety first, bro.
It's like a fucking dick on legs.
Hey, he'll go you.
Oh, your wiener.
His teeth are
Your
sharp.
wiener dog.
Hey, he knows all the critical places to bite.
God. Oh.
All right, so I'm playing a game, right?
All right.
And this is a game. It's an online test,
It is.
and we're gonna get a
I
point.
don't like tests and I get anxiety over tests. I am fucking in my head right now. I'm rocking back and forth. I'm crying.
Would you like some
in my
medication
dick.
for your anxiety?
Fucking hate tests.
Nah, it's pretty simple, man. It's just 8 questions, and I've not done it, so I'm not cheating here. All right,
Okay.
all right. And I can't see the answers until I actually press a button.
Okay.
All right. It's a test. Could you survive a life or death situation?
Okay.
Cool. All right. So there's like a scenario and then 3 answers. You got
Yeah.
to pick the right answer.
All right.
Good.
Let's do it.
Let's see who comes out on top. All right. If you get lost in a desert, these are all outdoor things, by the way. If you get lost in a desert, what should you do? 1, move during the day. 2, move at night. 3, dig a hole for yourself in the sand.
Move at night, I say.
All right. I'll reveal the answer because I'd say the same. And the answer is move at night
Hey.
because the temperature drops.
1 for 1. Have you ever heard of quitting while you're ahead?
It was over 1 for 1. So basically, you reduce the risk of dehydration and heat stroke and save a heap of water by just travelling at night.
Yeah. And let's face it, in Australia, it's pretty easy to find your cardinal points
Well, yeah.
using the Southern Cross and the 2 pointers.
They're just
Good.
talking deserts in general. I mean, some deserts get freezing at night as well. So, all
Yeah. Yeah.
right, very good. All right, second scenario. If you get buried under rubble, what should you do? 1, calm down and wrap your shirt around your head. 2, light the fire. 3, try to move fast. All right, so 2, light the fire, like of motivation.
I feel like 2. This is like one of those multiple choice things where 2 are just obscenely retarded, and then there's a right answer.
All right, so I'm going to go with wrap a shirt around your head because I'm assuming that's to protect your head
Yeah,
from rocks and shit.
Yeah, I'd say
and
the
you
same
don't want to be moving around heaps.
yeah. Well, you certainly don't want to move around. If you if you dislodge a rock, could cause a cave in. So I'm going to go with that. Wrap
Right.
the head.
Very, very good. We're on 2 each now. Try to calm down. Take off your shirt or T-shirt and wrap it around your head. This will protect you from suffocation
Where the fuck did you find this,
and
by
dust.
the way?
Oh, Google, man. Several days ago. All right, very good. If a shark is approaching you, what should you do?
Punch it in the head.
Do you want the 3 options?
Yeah, give
All
us.
right.
Yeah, go on.
Turn your back to the shark and swim as fast as possible. 2, mount it and tame it. 3, if it's caught you, hit its eyes and gills.
100%, man. I'm going to mount that fucker. I'm going to make him a bitch. Nah, the third one.
Yeah, the third one I'm going to go with.
Yeah, it was.
You ain't going to outswim it. And obviously mounting and taming it's ridiculous. And I've heard you just punch it in the eyes or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've heard that in the nose of the shark it holds a lot of sensors. I'm going to say this for a lack of knowledge, but like sonar, like sort of, it's like sonar. It's like the shark's sonar, like obviously a natural version. So there's a lot of sensors and things in it. So when you do hit the nose, it actually like, rattles them a bit.
I don't know if they have sonar like
I don't know
dolphins.
if it's sonar, but it's like
I'm
it's
happy
like
to
sensitive,
be,
I guess.
I'm happy to be
Sensitive
corrected. Well, I would say
nerve
sharks'
receptors.
most sensitive sense is smell because they can smell like a drop of blood in like millions of litres of water.
Maybe you just stick its finger up its ass.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the correct answer is do not turn your back to it. Don't try and swim away. You'll look like a victim. Move slowly. If it's caught you, hit its eyes and gills. These are sensitive areas.
Hey, 3 for 3.
So just bash the fuck out of it.
Yeah. Man up. Duke that bitch.
All right. If a bull is attacking you,
Hey, you can crawl like a bitch.
what should you do? 1, run toward it. 2, lie down flat on your back. 3, freeze and throw a hat away from yourself.
Actually, this is a little bit harder because I've had plenty of cows charge me. And when they charge me, I actually just sort of like I'll stamp forward and shirt up. Having said that, if a bull wasn't dehorned and doing that, I'd probably run like a bitch.
So without seeing the multiple choice, I would have said try and make yourself look as big as possible.
Yeah, have you seen that? There's that dude that like an elephant fake charges, or the elephant's actually charging this dude in Africa, and he just all he does is he just like turns towards it, raises his arms and like puffs his chest out and stamps, and this elephant backs down.
Yeah, it's just enough to make him second guess.
Yeah. I'm going to go with that because it's
Fair enough.
probably throw the hat.
Well, I'm going to go with
I guess throwing the hat, like diverting its attentions, probably could be a smart thing.
I think that's probably it. I don't think you should run towards it or lie down because I've definitely seen videos where people have just laid on the ground and the bull's just gored it.
Yeah.
So,
And when you think of a matador, they're basically getting the attention of the bull with the cloth.
yeah.
So, yeah, maybe hat.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Look, we're doing well here. We're still even. Bulls react to movements. Thus, if a bull's running towards you, don't move. When it's close, throw a hat or other piece of clothing aside. The animal will attack that. So you stand still and chuck something and it will go for that and then piss off.
There you go. I've got to add something to this as well.
Bit of seasoning.
I learnt many, many years ago. So at night, if you're driving through like a herd of cattle or something like that, when you're hunting, don't put your high beams on. Same with roos. Don't put your high beams on when there's a bunch of roos about on the road because it creates shadows and scares them onto the road. Creates a shadow behind them. They've obviously got not 360-degree vision, but like 320. And, yeah, the shadow behind them spooks them and they move forward.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Makes sense. Because
Pretty much a fucking genius.
sure,
mate.
like most of the time, you're just like, why the fuck? Don't run in front of me.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Try turning down your lights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Turn the lights.
It's quite funny.
down.
I thought that would have stood out actually from your last hunting trip.
Pretty much. There's a lot of roos on the road who decided to run across it. All right. If a tornado is approaching you.
Oh, God. Because we live in a tornado-prone area. The worst we get's a
Mate,
willy-willy.
you never know. You never know. Come on.
Have you seen a willy-willy on fire? Like a willy-willy that's like...
I mean, my willy's on fire sometimes.
Yeah, they've got a fucking cream for that, mate. An ointment. No, like in a bushfire's going up and then there's a willy-willy and it's like a vortex of fire.
No.
It's pretty intense.
No, I haven't.
I started a fire last night, actually.
I feel like you watch more YouTube than I do. All right. So, yeah, if a tornado is approaching you, should you, 1, climb a hill, 2, hide in a hole, 3, run as fast as you can?
And so those...
1, climb a hill, 2, hide in a hole, 3, run as fast as you can.
I'm going to say hide in a hole.
I'm going to roll with that as well. I'm not just copying you because climb a hill, then you get to a high point, you're more likely to be thrown down a hill.
But everyone likes to put things in holes, so I'm just rolling with that. 'Cause
I'm gonna assume running as fast as you can, you're still not going to outrun a tornado. And 3, if you hide in a hole,
it's a windbreak
surely
essentially.
it would pass over the top of you.
Yeah, windbreak, and it's also probably going to protect you from any flying debris.
Debris even?
Debris.
Fuck off. All right. That's the official answer is hide inside a hole. Find a ditch or a pit and lie down covering your head with your hands and clothes. So I'm assuming it's just going to pass over you, not suck you out the hole.
Mrs. Vagina is acceptable.
I mean, if you're fitting inside that guy, you've got problems. It's not somewhere you should fit.
All right, next one.
All right. Sorry, here we go. If bees are attacking you, which I've had personal experience.
Bees or one bee? There's a difference.
Bees.
Two bees studying.
Swarm of bees.
Oh, fuck off.
I was on a
Who
roof.
the fuck gets attacked by a swarm of bees?
This guy. There was a swarm of bees in a chimney, and we were trying to remove the swarm of bees from the chimney.
It was a hive.
Or we were trying to cover up the hive. Yep. So we could put a bug bomb in there. And as I went to cover up the chimney to block them in, that got fucked up, and the whole lot of them came out and chased me across a roof, down a ladder, and around a yard.
Really? Did you get stung?
Like 30 times.
Really?
Not even exaggerating.
Oh.
And I'd wrapped material around my head, gloves, the whole lot.
Really? Mm-hmm. My grandfather used to keep bees, and apart from the fact of you should have just lit a fucking fire in the fucking fire pit and smoked them out, because smoke calms bees or makes them dopey.
Bro, they've been living in the chimney for years.
With the fire active?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. I don't believe it. But anyway.
No, they did. They were legit.
Anyway, my grandfather kept bees, and I was quite nervous around him when I was young, and he just sort of grabbed me one day and he grabbed a bunch of the bees and put them on my hand, like just bare skin and things like that. And he's like, yeah, the secret is not to move rapidly or fidget or anything like that.
Well, let me tell you, I was moving rapidly.
Yeah.
I was moving fast for me. All right, so what should you do? Hide in a cave, dive, or use insecticides?
Hide in a cave, dive. Dive where?
It just says dive.
I dove onto the ground and the bees buzzed me. Hide in a fucking cave? Nah, I'm going to go with use insecticide.
I don't know with this one actually.
We'll take an informed guess.
I feel like insecticides, unless they're strong enough, are going to piss them off. Dive.
Dive where? If it was dive underwater, I'd be like, yeah, sure, dive underwater.
Right. Because it's so ambiguous, I'm just going to go dive because I'm thinking like their answer is going to say in water or to the. You see people. You see people getting chased by bees and they just like get down on the ground. Maybe there's like a certain height that bees like to fly at. I don't know.
Because plants are not like half a foot from the ground.
Oh, that's true. I think all my bee stings were in that those yellow flowers in the grass at school.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. All right.
We'll just say daisies.
So what were you going with? Insecticides?
Yeah.
Well, we're both wrong. Hide in a dark place. Bees can't see well in the dark. The lack of light will confuse them.
Ah.
So they're obviously just chasing you based on what they can see.
Well, that's very interesting.
All right, well, we're still even. All right, if you fall through the ice.
Start praying.
What should you do? Choose the same way you came in and try to slide.
And try to slide out of it.
Try to break the ice and move toward the shore. Take off your clothes.
Well, actually, I think the ice would be thicker by the shore. Because if it's shallower and it's cold, it's going to freeze. And then out in the middle of the lake or the middle, it's obviously going to be deeper, so it's going to take a while for the water to get cold and freeze.
I think this is ambiguous again. Like, if you fall through the ice, like, so I'm imagining you in the water, you wouldn't take your clothes off in there. Maybe
I think panicking would be it.
I think you should take your clothes off after to get rid of the freezing ice water off your body?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, what was the second?
So the first was choose the same way you came in and try to slide. Or I think that should be choose the same way you fell in and try to slide. Try to break the ice and move toward the shore or take off your clothes.
I reckon the first one.
I think so as well.
Yeah, that seems logical.
Because
I think when they're talking about sliding, so you float to the top and you're using your body to try and fill the entry hole.
Well, like I can't see the second one being an option because who knows how far away from the shore you are. And taking off your clothes, you wouldn't do that in the water. Maybe afterwards, but let's see the answer. Yep, first one. The best way out is the way you came in. The ice is stronger there. Get horizontal and grab onto the edge of the ice. Pull yourself out of the water, distributing your weight evenly.
Hey, 7 out of 8. That's the best test I've ever done.
Let us fucking survive. All right, there's one more.
Well,
so you're actually 6 from 7.
Oh,
we
sorry.
both are actually.
Damn, premature.
Right. If an elevator is falling and you're in it, what do? Jump, lie down on the floor, squeeze up against the wall.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All those answers sound retarded.
I feel like I've watched a episode of Mythbusters where they talk about jumping and they disproved that it will actually save you if you jump as the elevator hits the ground. I feel like they busted that. So I don't think it's jump, which leaves us with lie down. Well, this is me. Lie down on the floor or squeeze up against the wall.
I'm going to go with lie down on the floor because squeezing against the wall, when you hit, it's going to compress everything.
Yeah, I feel like it's not going to do anything. I don't think jumping actually fixes it.
I think you just fucked whatever way you look at it.
Well, let's be honest.
Why don't you do some Mission Impossible shit and get out the top and grab onto a rope?
Look, I think just through process of elimination, lie down on the floor. I don't really know why. Do you have any reasoning why lie down on the floor?
No, I don't. Because you're going to just accept
Just be
death.
comfortable when you die.
Yeah.
Yep, that is the answer.
Really?
Yep.
Lie down on the floor.
Lie down on the floor so the force of the impact will be distributed across your entire body. So I guess if you're standing, it's all going to go through your ankles, legs,
back.
They're just going to break.
Compress.
Whereas if you're on the floor, just everything gets...
See, jumping like just would completely disprove Newton's theory in my mind.
Of Newton's theory of what?
Yeah. Of shit.
He has
relativity.
Several.
Newton's third, well, whatever it is. There's an equal and opposite
I think that's Newton's third law.
third law, yeah.
I think.
Action.
Don't quote me. It's been a while since year 12 physics.
Yeah, it has. But to me, like if that's moving, it's like braking on a car. Like when you brake, well, your body still goes forward because the object that you're in was traveling. So your body's technically traveling at that same speed as well.
What were you taught in the army when you say jumped out of something? What were your landing techniques you were taught?
I never jumped out of a plane
Because I'm sure you weren't. Sure you weren't supposed to jump off things and just like lay down flat. Belly flop.
There was this thing where they did. It's called a digger drop, actually. So out of the back of the carriers, like an M113 or a AS4 is like our. So I was mechanised infantry. So that was sort of like our vehicle that we used. That and Bushmasters. But anyway, there was a thing where they could basically drop the rear hatch down, sort of like halfway, and then you just run out, and then you just they tell you to sort of like brace. But there was no real defined like teaching on how to do it. You just sort of had to figure it out. The first time I did it, everyone was just potatoes, like just trip over your feet and fall flat on your face, and you got all your gear on as well. So there was no real, I guess, proper way of doing that. Having said that, when we did our OBS course and things and we had to jump from like the high wall and all that, yeah, you had to basically land with your feet shoulder width apart with your feet facing forward bend your knees and put your hands out in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah. So like a natural landing sort of, pose. Yeah. And actually,
I can imagine it.
I met a couple of guys that had jumped out of planes through my career, and static line and free fall is different. So static line, when you jump out of the plane, your chute's pulled from a line that's hooked to the plane, and free fall, you pull your own chute. The guys on static line, when they jumped out, when they were taught, so the chutes are designed to get you to the ground as quick as possible, safely, and I'm using this in
Inverted commas.
as possible. And when they landed, they had to do this weird thing with like feet together. You'd bend down, you'd twist and stick your ass out and then roll. And it was just the weirdest looking thing.
Oh.
Like, I just look at it and go, that's so unnatural. And most of the time, the guys that I spoke to, they said that you wouldn't get a perfect landing. You just wouldn't have that opportunity. I actually met a guy who had his air stolen. So it's when a static line parachute goes over the top of another chute, and it basically the chute underneath, or I think creates like a sort of like a wind, and then collapses the chute on top, and he fell and ended up falling like a fair way. I don't know exactly how far it was, and broke his back but survived.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's a bit rough, man.
Yeah.
I still haven't jumped out of a plane, so.
Do you reckon you could? I reckon you
do
go.
it. No, I could do it.
I reckon you go translucent. You're like a pretty pale fella. I reckon you just you'd end up going translucent.
I'll be all right, man. Heights don't bother me. Both my brothers have.
Hang on, your younger brother has.
Yeah, both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
They both did together.
Oh, right. Oh, there you go. So you've got some shoes to live up to.
They've got that advantage over me. That's about it.
Settle down.
So, yeah, man. Nice little test. We both passed. We got the same score.
Yeah.
Surviving most things.
We're pretty much like an able-bodied Stephen Hawking's.
Yeah. We'll roll with that. All right. That's me. What do you got, man?
All right. So I've got a few things I'll cover. The first one's quite simple. It was about your trip that you just went away. Now, Ryan posted on our Instagram handle a photo of him, and he picked a handful of mushrooms, and he asked everyone if it was safe or not to eat.
The whole time, every time he saw a mushroom, can you eat that one? I wonder if we can eat that one. And then he's like Googling it, what all the right thing, and he's smelling it. Oh, it smells like a mushroom. I'm like, bro, why is it worth the risk?
Smells like feces.
Like, you're not dying of hunger. What is this worth the risk? I wouldn't eat it.
You should have just, mate, this is like camp mum. This is like you're a camp mum. You should have just turned around and said, oh, no, fucking eat it and find out. You won't eat it.
No, I was too busy being camp mum, saying, I said to him, I'm not giving you mouth to mouth if you collapse convulsing on the ground.
Oh, that's fucked.
I said, we're in the middle of nowhere. I've got to get back to the vehicle, drive to a town, get you. To be fair, we had reception, so I would have just called. But
yeah, in that sort of scenario, if it was like life or death, I think you'd definitely call a rescue chopper.
Risk versus reward. Like, we didn't need the nutrients from eating these mushrooms. And we actually posted on Instagram about whether they should be eaten or not. Interestingly, the results were split exactly 50-50.
I think that's half of the 50 for yes or for it is a piss take. So I reckon you can take out 25% there.
Well, as it was, the ones he picked and posted the picture of, just so I can say as many P's as possible in the same fucking sentence, they were actually edible. So
yeah, they
were fine based on all the criteria for an edible mushroom. Those ones are actually fine.
Except they grow in shit, but yeah.
Yeah, well. But then everything else he found was just definitely
so this is something that we had a conversation about the other day, and I'm for knowing that, but you need to obviously do your research because it's poisonous item, or they can be poisonous. But you almost seemed just don't eat them. Period.
Because it wasn't a life or death situation.
But
we were full. We actually didn't eat that much at all.
Really?
Surprisingly, like
backcountry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like of 3 nights, we had one. That's all.
One backcountry.
I don't know what was going on. Yeah.
And you didn't. What else did you eat?
Like we had. I probably had 3. I had 2 protein bars, 2 muesli bars, and like a handful of like trail mix. 1 backcountry, and that's all I ate.
Why?
I don't know. We just weren't hungry. It was weird.
That is quite strange because Ryan generally eats.
Ryan usually eats a shit ton, and even he wasn't hungry.
Bloody hell.
He ate less than me.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, did he bring food though?
No, he did. He didn't have snacks, but he did have backcountry.
Of course, he didn't have snacks. Oh my god, Ryan.
But yeah, I couldn't understand why you'd want to eat a mushroom, which could potentially be fatal.
Well, that's because he didn't bring any snacks. That's why. So we've just figured out the reason as to why.
No, look, it just 100% wasn't worth the risk, so I wouldn't have eaten it.
You see, I'm kind of like I'd like to learn more about it and do it and get to the point where I'm knowledgeable enough to walk past and be like, yeah, that's edible. No, that's not. And just, pick them, eat them, do whatever.
Yeah, only in a life or death situation would I even.
If we'd just shot a deer and just cooking up some tenderloins, my favourite way of doing that is just cutting them up into small, like 1 or 2 inch cubes. And if I had some fresh mushies, I'd cut them up and chuck it in. Bloody oath.
Maybe you'd want to know what you're doing though.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Now, the reason why I say this actually. There's a method that I was taught to me by some fellas up north in Darwin, and if they didn't know if a plant was poisonous or not, what they would do is they would basically get the plant, they'd crack it open, or the fruit or whatever it is that they've got, they'd crack it open and then they'd wipe it on their palm, and then they'd wait 20 minutes. If there was no reaction on the palm, they'd actually then wipe it on the outside of their lips. And if there was no reaction to their lips,
then
in an hour or so, they'd eat it. Yep.
That's fair.
Yeah, and so that was like the sequence of order of I wouldn't go doing this unless you had to, but if you were certainly in a survival situation or life or death situation, and you had no food and you were unsure whether the fruit was safe or not, it's a simple way of just testing it. And I don't understand this. You should know this as a father, really. How'd you get your kids into like nuts and shit?
I mean, we did the test where you take them to the hospital and they put like a little dot of all this shit on there.
Really?
Yeah.
My mum just gave me nuts.
She wanted you dead. Nah. Well, this is a rabbit hole in itself, man. At our age, 34, back then, how many fucking nut allergies and shit existed? Of
None,
kids?
Because your parents just force fed you fucking nuts.
Now everyone's allergic to the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Nut allergies.
I have a bit of a problem at the moment, and I never thought I would ever be at this point, but I'm pretty sure I'm lactose intolerant, and I've stopped drinking milk and I've substituted it for oat milk for the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I have had 0 explosive shits.
You've also brought this up on the podcast 3 weeks running, so
Yeah.
there you go.
It's because I'm just advocating oat milk, basically.
Nah, people. There's a test where they go put a dot of all these different nuts on your kid's back, and then look for their reaction. So it's the same theory, I guess, of rubbing it on your skin before you ingest it. But I'm sure there's some wacky shit out there that could pass both those tests and still kill you when it's on the inside of you.
Oh, yeah, probably. Without a doubt. I'm just saying, like, that's
So again,
worst case.
if you're not sure, just err on the side of caution and don't eat it.
You're so boring, Camp Mum.
I mean,
You're vanilla, bruh. You're vanilla.
I'm alive is what I am.
Anyway, so the last few weeks of my life have been quite busy. Anyway, last night, actually, I wasn't going to mention this, but I will because it'll flow into another thing anyway. I had to do some burning off last night. So I'm out there, I'm starting this ripping fire going, and it's huge, it's great. And we had some old car parts that were like plastic and things like that from an old shit box. And I thought, oh, well, instead of put them in the bin, I'll just burn them. So I've thrown them on the pile. Anyway.
Just release toxic gases into
yeah, just doing my part for the old, greenhouse emissions.
Well done.
Anyway, I'm sitting down with my neighbour. So he's about 70-something.
Is it a she or a he?
He's.
I thought you said she the first time. Anyway, continue.
No, he's about 70-something. He's a really nice dude. Anyway, we were sitting there, and I was with Hayden, good old Hayden. And we're sitting there just having a few Jack Daniels whilst we were just like maintaining this fire and burning everything that we needed to burn off. And next minute, bang! I was like, fuck, what's that? I don't know what that is. I'm like, shit, what did I put in the fire? I had no connection to that. It was to the car parks, which I'll get into a sec. And I actually thought, shit, did I leave a 22 round or a shotgun round or a 308 round or something in my pocket? Because I burnt some old clothes as well. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually go through the bags that they were in. And I thought, surely not. No way. I've never left anything like in my clothes and that.
So you're burning plastic bags too?
Yeah, and clothes. Yeah.
It's a big fuck you to the environment from you last night, wasn't it?
Mate, hey, you've got a new car. You should sell it and buy an old one.
I'm actually about to do that.
Because that right there puts more pollution in the air than me burning a few plastic items.
Dude, I'm sure my carbon footprint is a lot smaller than yours, my friend.
No way.
You're burning plastic. You've got an old car.
No. Yeah, old cars better. They proved that buying a second-hand car was cleaner than buying a new car, a new electric car for the environment because of the amount of greenhouse emissions it takes to build that car.
All right, well, that's a mute point because my car's not electric, so move on.
Well, it's still a new car, so fucking hell. Anyway, it sort of startled all three of us, and we were like, fuck, what's that? And Hugh was like, we obviously got onto the topic of ammunition in the fire. Anyway, some time went on. Bang! I'm like, fucking hell, it's getting louder. Maybe the first one was the 22 and the second one was Dad's 444 or something like that. I was like, oh, shit. Anyway, we sort of like had a bit of a giggle. And about an hour later, boom, and it has just rocked the whole entire valley. And I was like, fucking hell. Now, this reminded me of being like mortared and I indirected in Afghanistan. It was that fucking loud. And the white light that came from it as well. I was like, shit. And then obviously it kicked out embers and things from the fire. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. What the hell was that? Anyway, some time went on. Hugh, my neighbour, decided to go back home, and I was like, yeah, cool. And it was just me and Hayden.
Yeah, because he's probably like, I'm going to die if I stay here much longer.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I think he was a bit drunk too, so he's got on his tractor and driven home. Anyway, I look over, and Hayden, like as soon as he's left, Hayden's giggling to himself. Well, I'm like, what are you giggling about, mate?
He's fucking throwing something in there, wasn't he?
I thought he had. But he's like, no, you know what it was? I'm like, no. He goes, oh, it was the inner panels of the car, airbags.
The fuck?
I was like, that makes perfect fucking sense. Yep.
So the third one was an airbag?
They were all airbags. Well, two of them were an airbag, and apparently, and I did not know, but there's like a reactive seatbelt. I don't know what the hell it is, but something. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. And that was also one that went off. And I was like, huh, really? Okay.
Wow.
And it was just junk. Like I threw like floor mats and shit in there as well, not to justify the carbon footprint, but whatever. I threw a whole bunch of crap in there.
I feel like this should be the ND. You're just
Nah.
like destroying the world.
No, because my whole point was actually it kind of reminded me of being indirected for the first time in Afghanistan. And I still remember the first time quite clearly. I was sitting on like this sort of deck thing.
Not a dick.
No, not a deck, a deck. And it was sort of like a shipping container behind me. And I was just sort of sitting there. I was minding my own business. I actually think I may have been on my phone watching YouTube because the internet over in Afghan was 10 times better than the internet here.
Of course.
In some places, not all places over there. But anyway, I was watching something on my phone at this stage. Next minute, boom! I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I sort of like look around and I'm like, you're supposed to like get to the ground immediately and then put on your body armor. But at this stage, I was sort of like, I just don't give a fuck. And I look around, I sort of stand up. I'm like, oh shit! And my boss has walked over to me, and another one's gone off, and we've looked just over the HESCO wall, and these like mortars are just landing like more within like 60 meters of the HESCO wall.
What is a HESCO wall?
Oh, it's like a wire cage, and inside there's like a sort of like a cardboardy fabric sort of lining, and you fill it up with dirt, and it's like a building block. They're big. They're about a little bit shorter, or probably about my height actually, and probably this table is what? How wide do you reckon this table is? 800?
Oh, it'd be about 800 by 1200, I'd say.
Maybe there's similar dimensions. Yeah. And so instead of digging in, you can basically these are flat pack sort of things, so that the wire just sort of like opens out to a rectangle.
So they're easily transportable, and then you can basically build
and then
like a fortress wherever.
Yeah, then you just fill it up with dirt, and then you stack them together, and instead of digging in, you can go above ground.
So I'm assuming the army rolls with like a backhoe or something.
Oh, yeah, you get your engineers to do it. Sometimes you got to fill them up by hand and that, but yeah, that job sucks dick.
Would. I know that makes sense. That's clever.
Mm.
And I'm assuming it takes a bit to get through them. There wouldn't be much that could get through them.
Yeah, look, they're like when you build them. So if how high you want to build, your base is obviously got to be wider. Yeah, You're stacking shit on top of things, right? So if you're going like 2 or 3 high, your base is going to be like 4 wide. 4 or 5 wide, yeah.
Like pyramid style.
Yeah. So, yeah, the base, nothing's coming through. And at the top, I reckon one of these things could take a direct hit from, say, like an 84 mil Carl Gustaf or something like that, and it'd probably fuck it up. But it's better than, I don't know, the 84 like landing at your feet or hitting you in the chest, isn't it?
Yeah, wow.
Bloody hell. But or 84 or a RPG, whatever you want to, whichever side of the fence you're on. Generally, it's us throwing 84s and them throwing RPGs.
So relating this back to life or death, that was the first time you'd been mortared?
Yeah. I had indirect come in. Yeah. It's pretty crazy, actually. I still sort of remember seeing and feeling sort of like the hot dirt sort of like kick up over the HESCO wall and hit you, and you're sort of like, not hit you, but it sort of rain on you, and you're like, fuck, what the hell's that?
I mean, you've told me towards the end of your time it was a very different story, but I'm assuming the first time you sort of would have freaked out a bit.
Yeah. So it was more like, what the hell? Like, you knew what it was, but you were sort of like intrigued. And yeah, there was that level of like, you're sort of like, fuck. But I mean, when I say the first time, I mean that's the first time that they were landing so close. So,
they'd gone off in the distance.
Yeah. So you sort of get used to it, and then obviously the further on down your deployment and that, you become like very, very complacent, even more so, and you just sort of you don't even care. Like at the start, guys are like sitting in their bunks and one will go off and they'll like roll onto the ground and go to put their body armour in. Your 2IC comes in to like make sure everyone's okay. And
there's a lot of time and effort and anxiety over something.
Yeah,
that
or you'll run into like one of the hardened shelters or whatever. Like that's where you got to get to. But towards the end, you're just like whatever, and you just like keep walking around and I don't know, make your coffee, like your jet boiled coffee and shit. You're just like, oh, I don't give a fuck. And your 2IC's like, everyone all right? You're like, yeah, shut the fuck up, dude. Yeah, so you become completely complacent. It's stupid.
You've just accepted it by then.
Yeah, 100%.
Just desensitized. It happens every day.
Yeah, and look, that was like, as I said, having them land in the distance doesn't help. Having them land so close, it's sort of like, it's a different feeling. So because they landed in the distance like prior to this, then you don't really class it as like you're being indirected because, it could be like a fucking quite a few 100 meters off. So like whatever.
Why break this down for me? Why is it called indirect? Is because they're just trying to. They haven't got coordinates. They're just fucking trying to hit you.
So what they do, they did have mortars, but they also had. So they'd set up. Essentially, it would be, a piece of railway, like the I channel from railway tracks.
Yeah.
Right. So they put that on its side, and then they'd have like a lot of munitions left over from when the Russians invaded. And they had like the 155s and the 105s artillery heads. Anyway, they'd basically lay one of these in this channel of this like railway track or something to guide it on its thrust. And they wire it up to like a det to obviously ignite the rocket. And they're actually pretty smart. So they'd time delay it so they'd have enough time to get away. And what they used to do is they'd use like a little teapot and it had a lid, and they simply just like attached like a stick to the inner of the lid, and then another flat piece of plastic or something like that, just so it was buoyant. And then they would obviously attach your battery system to this metal teapot, or like an electrode or something like that, and to the lid. And then they'd poke a hole in the bottom of the teapot or something like that. And so when the hole, obviously the water drained out, the lid came down and connected the two electrodes together, closed the circuit and set off the rocket. So they had time to piss off.
That's clever.
But in doing that, they were very inaccurate. So you could it would sort of be like aiming by sight. So just sort of like, okay, that'll do, and they would remember where it was pointed and how far it was off. So like generally if it was like at the start, they were like well off, and then, a few weeks later they were starting to close the gap pretty rapidly. But at that sort of like stage, they'd ramp up like clearing patrols and things like that. So they were more hastily put, so they didn't really have the time to sort of readjust.
So it was pretty agricultural, really.
Yeah, look, everything's pretty agricultural, but they're smart, man. They were very smart. Even little things like when on their machine guns and things, they used to piss at the front of the machine gun and wet the dirt so it wouldn't kick up a signature. So it would help conceal their position of a machine gun. So look, they are pretty smart, sort of, in that way, but they're on a tight budget, I'd say.
No budget.
So when you got mortars and things like that, obviously that's, like the local commander for the Taliban in that area obviously was given a supply and a mission and a bit more of a direct focus than they had. Then he was given some better equipment if they could smuggle it in. Obviously, the coalition forces were very good at, one, busting caches, and two, busting supply routes and things like that. So when you sort of take away that supply route, you're not the enemy on the ground isn't getting what they need to fight. So that, and a lot of times they were pretty fucking lazy. So yeah. But I couldn't understand it, to be honest, because sometimes it was fucking hot over there and you're like, I just want to fucking sit in the shade. But there's heaps of factors, man. I could crap on about this.
I'm sure you can. And I'm sure it would be quite interesting to people, because most people actually haven't been presented with a life or death situation in their lifetime.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
I mean, people have had normal civilian life. People have had car crashes, or nearly got hit by a car, or nearly fell off a cliff or something. But to go and position yourself in a war where life and death is every day.
Yeah, look, and and you're sort of hyped up, but then you just, towards the end, you're like, oh, well, what the fuck ever, as I said. So you just stop caring a lot, and yeah, you become complacent. And look, your rank would identify when guys started to get complacent, and they would obviously implement a bit of training or whatever, just to put the wind back into dudes, because a lot of, like, over there's a lot of boredom. Yeah. It's not like Hollywood, how it's like fucking, pew pew, like every fucking day. Yeah. It's more like, how many cranks can I have today? 7.
You have alluded to this multiple times on the podcast.
Yeah. So, you just sort of like, it is pretty boring at times. So, and when you're doing this for months on end and you're working the whole day and the whole night, like, work doesn't really stop.
Yeah.
And a lot of the work, you might do some like crazy patrols and things, and you're fucking physically exhausted as well. So all this is like a breeding ground for complacency. So, but your rank would identify, and,
it'd be pretty draining to just be switched on all the time.
Yeah, that's the other thing, man. Yeah. But by the end of it, you're sleeping through getting indirected. You do I see with some, I don't know, 15 minutes later, he'd like come in and be like, oh, is everyone okay? He'd be like, fucking let me sleep. Just piss off.
Yeah.
But, look, it's pretty intense. Everything slows down at those scary sort of moments in life. Like, it almost becomes like fucking slow-mo. Yeah. And it's your brain's way of coping with the stress, because it's obviously fucking intense, like intensely high stress. But yeah.
There you go, man.
There you go. That's enough of more fucking blue waffling on. I had to chuck that in there.
For anyone who's never Googled blue waffle,
don't.
It's an obscure reference from Josh. Oh, fuck. I've got a bit of your disease. I can't speak properly tonight.
Yeah, and I'm on point.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that.
You're wearing the dunce hat tonight.
All right, man. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
ND!
Negligent discharge.
Oh, there we go. We heard a bit of Ryan for the only time tonight.
Yeah, we squeezed him in.
Yeah, let's move on to the ND, and the big man himself is the topic of the ND.
Because he's not here to fight back.
Exactly. Oh, look, you'd probably agree with me, because I'll go back to our trip over the weekend again, and the incident where I first heard the shots. The very first time, before he actually got his deer, the one he claims to have hit and we couldn't find. The scenario he found himself in, as he was just sat on his phone, and I'm going by what he described to me. I wasn't there to see this, but he was essentially sitting on his phone by this like big lump of dirt, looking out for deer, and then got distracted by Instagram / talking to people / taking photos. And he tells me he was taking a selfie. And when he looked up, there were 3 deer within 30 metres of him. 30 metres.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. So, firstly, the ND is for being distracted whilst on the phone.
Are you sure it's Instagram?
Look, I don't know. I could speculate all you want, but
100% I reckon it's Grindr.
he was taking a dick pic for some bloke.
Did you see him put the macro lens on his phone? Oh, shit.
There was some serious zoom needed. But yeah, no, he was taking a selfie, looked up. So he wasn't ready. So he's had to chuck his phone down, get his rifle. Somehow the deer stayed around long enough for him to take a shot.
And Ryan's not exactly, how do I put this, stealthy in his movements.
No, he's not that coordinated.
No. He would have been like, freak out, fucking throwing the phone away. I don't even reckon his gun would have been near him.
I mean, like, again, I'm speculating because I wasn't there, but I mean, two schools of thought. I think he's either just chucked his phone and fumbled around for his gun and fired off, or he's like frozen, like inched his phone down to the ground, grabbed his rifle, and then like, yeah, I don't know. In regards to his shot, he claims it was good. He lunged it, but it was raining, so couldn't follow a blood trail. He actually chased after it, he says, through the scrub, and then he lost it when he looked down to climb over a log.
So that's a fail in itself. If you put a shot on
Don't chase
like
it.
heart and lungs, you don't chase it because you're just going to kick it some adrenaline into it and it's going to run further. Give it like a couple minutes, let it settle, let it cark it.
And I waited up in the same spot the next morning because when we did go through the bush, it looked like an absolute thoroughfare for deer. A lot of signs. So I'm like, yeah, surely they're coming out of here to get to some grassy fields that were nearby. So, yeah, that was his first mistake was being on his phone. If he was not on his phone, he would have seen the deer approach and he could have just waited to take his shot and been in a perfect position. The one he shot later on, he was still in that same spot, and because he was waiting in anticipation, he watched the thing walk into him and shot it.
Yeah,
And then it went.
that's pretty lucky because he didn't move in that spot, did he?
No.
From that spot.
No.
And an hour later and they'd come back through. Yep. Yeah.
Or one has.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was because people were shooting probably a couple of Ks away and they were just pushing them all towards us. But the next day I went back to the same spot and nothing. No sign.
You probably would have been better off staying where you were.
Maybe. A few moved through during the night because there was fresh sign over our tracks. There is a stomper there, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's fallow or red or sambar?
I don't think it's fallow. It's got some size about it. Like the hoof print is nearly as big as like the toe of my foot. Like
What about the stride?
the toe portion of my boot.
What about the stride? So the length between front and rears.
I'd have to go back over some photos. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But-
because that'll give you a good indication of like if it's not a fallow, if it's a red or if it's a which red are in that area. And I haven't heard of sambar being that far west, but
I don't think so. I can't remember paying too much attention to the stride. There was one bit of sign that I found where it had clearly come through a fence, sort of like stopped and almost done like a double take because there's this fart assing around. You can see where it's like stopped,
It's wigged
obviously
out.
being spooked by something and changed direction
yeah,
because there's like this scuffling and like footprints over the top of each other. But yeah, stride length I didn't really pay attention to. But the actual just hoof size is it'd be bigger than that. It's probably good 8-10 centimeters across. It's fucking big.
yeah, that's not bad.
Or maybe not 10. We'll go 8 centimeters
Yeah,
across.
I reckon it sounds like a red. Yeah, if we rip out the photos and have a bit of a gaze, try and see what its stride's like.
Bit of analysis.
Yeah, geez, you're getting pretty technical when you're looking at that shit.
Well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Go on Grinder and miss 3 deer.
So, yeah, there you go. So, Ryan could potentially...
I reckon Ryan indeed. I reckon he saw a fucking stump cat again and shot
Look,
the
dude.
stump cat.
I didn't see a dead deer.
Oh, dear.
I was nowhere near him, so he could have just been telling me a lot. Like, he had a follow-up shot as well.
Oh, so he shot three times.
So the first one he had to go at, he claims the first shot was good, but then he got up and chased it straight away, which is his second mistake after being on his phone.
Yeah.
And then he reckons he got off another shot, which ricocheted off a tree. And then he's just legged it. And the thing was slowing down. Then he lost sight of it, couldn't find it anywhere, no blood anywhere because it was raining.
Someone needs to slow that man
So I'm
down.
skeptical, and I was giving him shit up until the point where I joined him later on. And then, yeah, he shot another one, sitting in the same spot, probably still on his phone.
Oh, dear.
So,
On Grinder.
yeah, I'm going. I don't know what the selection was like in the area, but
See, I still personally believe that little plot that we've got there, and this is one for the listeners. We'd like to hear if you have any, I don't know what you'd call them,
honey holes.
not honey holes, and not where your honey holes are, but like you've been hunting in an area for a while, and you just feel or you know that there's a whomper in there, like an absolute stonking great big stag or buck.
People who have their trail cams up, and they would have seen them. People would probably sit around wallows.
Yeah,
and
but
see
for
some
people like
signs.
us who travel interstate to hunt, you're not going to go leaving a trail camera
Oh fuck no!
on a national park when you don't live in that area.
And we're only getting to know places that we've gone back multiple times
Yeah, yeah.
to get a feel. Like you can get like a feel for the place. Weirdly, when you're first
Yeah, but
there,
that's
you're
what
sort
I
of
mean.
like,
You're sort of like in an area and you've been there a couple of times and you're like, yeah, you've seen some good sign, you've seen some does, maybe a few bucks, but you're sort of like, yeah, this place is going to give up something fucking ripper.
you got to put time in on the same spot to get to like know and feel and get some science behind what you're theorizing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you get one like our alpine trip in the snow, like
It's
we
fucking-
basically found a campsite, went for a walk. There's snow. Fuck,
there's
there's a
a
shit
seven.
ton of footprints everywhere. Let's walk this same track the next day. Walk around a corner. Dum dum dum. Oh, there was a rub tree.
Having said
but
that, that's my ND actually, because I personally think there was a massive stag in there, and we've just hit a hind because it's like we've come around a corner. The hind staring at us, we're staring at it, and it was full slow mo as well. Good God, do you remember?
Yeah.
Because we were both standing, and like we've sort of looked at each other, looked at the fucking stag, the hind, and we're like, fuck. And then I've taken a knee and had time to unsling my rifle and bring it to the shoulder. And meanwhile, this hind's just like fucking deer in headlights. Like it's like if I don't move, they won't see me.
oh well,
Epic fail.
it was. But yeah, well,
She was nice. She definitely
she was good eating.
tasted scrumptious.
Stop calling her she. Sounds weird.
Well, it was.
It.
She had a vagina.
Is that something you ate? Imagine if that was a thing. Like outside of the old butternut. Imagine if like somehow cutting off an animal's genitals, a female, his genitals was a thing. It'd just be weird.
The outside or all of it? You get the fucking fallopian tubes and you put them on the barbie.
Tonight over the fire, I'm cooking deer labia.
Oh shit!
All right, before we get too weird, what's next week's topic, mate?
Yeah, well, next week, stay tuned because we have a special guest, Josh Haynes. Josh Haynes is coming in, and
Hello.
yeah, we're gonna ask him about his experiences in life as a hunter.
Yeah, wow. Well, if there's anything to be known or asked about deer, he's the bloke.
He's very knowledgeable, and geez, does he have some deer on his trail cameras, and certainly some deer under his belt.
I mean, I think he's
that
seen
shot.
like several thousand more deer in the flesh than we have. So
I think more than most people. He's definitely got some of those honey holes.
more than most people. If you've ever been on his Instagram, it is a daily.
And we'll plug him. It's Hainsey0307. So, yeah, if you want to have a look at him, jump on the old Instagram
Bit of a squiz.
and have a look at some of his amazing trophies and some of his footage that he's got from his trail
yeah,
cameras.
he looks like he has experiences that most people would be extremely jealous of. So
Or pay fucking thousands of dollars to do. Yeah.
exactly. All
He's
right.
very lucky, and it's all free range,
That's
which is even more unbelievable.
Cool. Well, get excited, listeners. We're going to have a special guest next week.
Yeah.
Hope you've.
Hopefully Ryan will be back with us.
Hopefully, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, it's going to be a mystery.
Hope you've enjoyed the duo tonight.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the break of Ryan's voice and fucking singing.
For those of you who hate Ryan, you've enjoyed this episode more than
I can't stand his random singing, man. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Hey, we shouldn't pay him out too much because he wrote this
He did.
song, which we're about to listen to,
did.
as we fade out. Fade up, even.
Fade up.
Fade up.
Anyway, ladies and gents, dude and dudettes, that's us for a wrap. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Catch you next week.
Gotcha. G'day, dude and dudettes. Josh here. Do you find it hard to keep your long, hard barrels free from gun STDs? Maybe you need a clean out of your bore. If this is you, jump on over to highcaliber.com.au and use the promo code SENDITMATE to receive a 10% discount on all your gun cleaning needs. And remember, it's sexy to support Australian-made products. Everyone here at Send It Mate uses high caliber, and we can promise you that it'll keep your firearms free from those pesky gun STDs.